everyone, I'm going to show you how to turn this very grey January day in Paimpol into a nice vibrant acrylic painting, and it's really easy and really quick. So I'm starting off with my 1.5" brush, and I'm just going to mix some Prussian blue. Actually, I'm just swapping brushes. I think I've cured that one, so we go for another 1.5" brush, and I'm adding some white into that Prussian blue. And this is going to be quite watery because it's our background wash. We're just sort of sealing the white of the canvas. But I want to put a few washes on. Normally I'll go with just one colour. And let's just go around the edges. It's a bit of a dirty canvas. Keep it quite watery at this point. Let's just flip that forward. This is one that I've had knocking around for a long time. I thought it was probably time I should use it. Well, it's a very pretty little place, but when I went there that day, it was absolutely no sunshine whatsoever. But you know, sometimes that helps because then we can make up our own colours and we're not sort of inhibited by what's actually there. I'm thinking that I'll probably have my line across there higher up with then the lovely reflections coming down, but we can adjust that if we need to and bring that sort of shape and maybe a bit of blue through there. So I'm just sort of establishing some shapes, and then I'm going to go for my alizarin crimson. So again, just watery, pop that in here. Colours can run a little bit into each other, that really doesn't matter at this stage. Just smooth that all out. It's almost like a bit of a watercolour putting this on. Do we want any other colour in? I think maybe a little bit of yellow showing through would be good. And let's sort of hint that through there. Gives us quite a nice balance of colour. I'm going to take a flat inch brush and I'm going to mix some Prussian blue and some white, not completely together. I'm just going to add them both onto the brush, and then I'm going to just paint the sky in. Always lighten that a bit later if we need to. And I want that gap a little bit to one side, so we don't want it bang in the middle of our picture. The paints I'm using are Atelier Interactive. I just find they're really forgiving. And then some of that can come down into the water. Now we're creating more of feel than an exact copy, as you can obviously see. We can adjust that more later if we need to. I'm going to grab another small brush and I'm just going to jot the shapes of my buildings in very lovely colours. So these at the back are a bit darker, so I'm going to go for an alizarin crimson, maybe just so I don't want my horizon to be bang in the middle of the picture, and maybe some of those roofs. We're not looking at detail at all in here. And let's go for a little bit of blue, and mauve would be good. Maybe some Prussian blue. And then we can go back into that a little bit later, but I really want to just sort of work out where most of these colours are going to sit. Right, grab that off, then we get brighter as we come forward. So I'm going to use some red. This is a crimson red. And let's get that one in, that's taller. Now what I ought to be doing at the same time is just bringing some of that down, and we do the same with that crimson here, but not so much of it, because I want to try and keep that bit lovely and light. Just balance it quite nicely. We'll put the roofs in a little bit later. We've got those lighter ones there. Let's go for a little bit of Naples yellow. It doesn't matter if other colours get mixed up on your brush, because that will just sort of add to that look. And again, let's just bring some of that down here. I can join that up later. I'm going for some yellow now. And some yellow the other side. I'll sort that more a bit later. What other colours have we got going on? There's so many lovely things going on here. I think we'll go back to some more red for... And a bit of orange wouldn't hurt, would it? Nice and bright there. The beauty with acrylics is at any point you can always go back into it and add a little bit more. Now this, I want it to be a very, very loose painting. Now let's carry on with the red, because we've got lots of buildings here. There's that sort of bigger one. I've not done any roofs yet, but they're going to be quite abstracted anyway. I'm not putting in too much of that colour, because we're going to have some boats in there. So let's just sort of smudge that out a little bit, just sort of tickle it with your brush. That's fine for the moment. Now what other colours have we got as we go along there? Oh, I think an orange wouldn't hurt just here. And then we've got quite a light colour next to that, so I think the Naples yellow. Now we're not worrying about it too much, we're not thinking about it too much. And on to, I'm going to have a little bit of alizarin crimson to break it up. That's quite a dark building there. And another yellow one wouldn't hurt. And what can we have on the end? I think some of that red. Mix the two reds, just dollops of two colours on that brush, and that's sort of giving us a nice happy warm feel. As you can see, I use a Keep Wet palette, which has a little bit of something like blotting paper underneath that you just keep damp, and this grease-proof lining on top, which you dispose of every so often when you've got so many colours on there that you can't carry on working. I've just squeezed a little bit of my colours on, and that will keep quite fresh and able to carry on working for months. We're going to get some coloured roofs, and we're not going to keep it all grey and boring, so use another of these little flat brushes. Start off with a alizarin crimson, and we get the shape of that in there. And I'm really not wanting these to be exact. Let's change the colours. Let's go for an orange. Just sort of working with the flatness of the brush. We can add a little bit of something else to that as well. So half and half orange and a crimson red. think a little bit of turquoise might be quite nice. A tiny bit of the Prussian blue. So dipped it. That's a shorter one there. So the other colours are coming through. I'm happy about that. Maybe have a bit of a yellow roof here. Go over to some turquoise, just a bit more in there. And no, we're not being exact. That's not what this is about. Back in the turquoise. Right, any definite sort of dark lines or awnings, and I think that might be quite nice to put in. So let's go for some nice bright shades here. And rather than yellow, then go for the yellow on the red. And we can add other colours too that I quite like, the turquoise. So. And we can certainly sort of spread these out later on. Ooh, didn't mean to do that, but never mind. Happy accidents. And then I'm just going to grab a very little brush. Oh, it's very tiny, and I'm just going to pop in some of the windows, but not all of them. And let's start here. And they really don't have to be exact, just roughly place them, and not every single one. This is just giving you a very sort of quick impression if you look at it quickly. On to here. You mix the colours up a little bit if you want to. That's enough. We know exactly what that is. I think a little bit of darkness underneath those wouldn't hurt. So shops. And really we're just using this for shapes. And see how quickly that's coming together. I don't want lots of detail, I want it to be really, really loose. Alright, I think the next thing that we have to put in are some of these boats, and there are lots of them, so we're not going to paint every single one. But what I'm going to do with my white and my small brush is place quite a lot of them by popping in the backs. So having them slightly higher because we want a lot of reflection. And I want quite a lot in there anyway because I want to get those beautiful masks in. And these are quite close, so they're quite big. There's a catamaran there, but I really don't think we ought to paint that. We'll just do them as all simple little boats like that. And then there's some more shapes as we come along. Sort of quite a lot of light, that one. And we're just filling that space with boats. And the same along here. I'll have an extra one there because we don't want the catamaran, so we can have an extra boat. This one by its side and some more backs. Now all of those have got shadow coming off of them. We don't want to make too much of it. I'm just going to use a little bit of the violet with a little bit of white added, and let's just get those boat sort of sides in. We might need another white one then. So just sort of use your common sense. And they don't even have to be all the same colour. We can use a little bit of blue and white as well. That's quite dark. And there's even boats behind. And then we'll drop some shadow down in a little while. Another flat brush. I'm going to get some of the darks in, but we really don't want to overwork this. And this is the real danger, is that you see too much and you just keep working and working and working. So we just go for our Prussian blue. There are darks underneath these boats. Now we can mix in a little bit of the red if we want it even darker. Any darks that you want to put in, pop in at this stage. Okay, I am really scared about overdoing this, so I think I just get a little bit more shape in there. Maybe mix that in with a bit of the red. Soften that as we and then there's all sorts of waves and things going on that we can put those shapes in. Overdo what's going on, but what I would like to do is to get a lot of these masts in, and I'm just going to use a card, just a normal card, and I'm going to run that through my white because the white will really show up against the background, and you just press that on to there. And that's the bigger ones that are sort of going in now. And I'm not worrying about spacing them at the moment because I'll put some smaller ones in a little while, because it's just showing up that there's loads and loads of boats moored there. Right, just use the smaller edge of your card, run it into your paint, and then some of the smaller ones. Some of the rigging, but not all of it, because again you could overdo this. And I'm going to go for a blue and a white mixed together on there, so that we've got some quite sort of ones that we're losing into the background here, but it gives you the feeling that they're all there. And just sort of keep working that. Right, with my little brush, and dab it into the white. There's a few of these marks that go across, and I think that will be quite handy to pop those in. and then that obviously reflects down into the water. So again, run that through, and this time what we can do is just sort of wiggle them a little bit. They don't go all the way up. And I'm going to do those darker so that they show up. So you can always do that. That's the Prussian blue. There, we haven't done a lot, and that's really sort of taking shape, isn't it, there? So I think we need a couple more of those side bits, but not too many. Alright, I'm really pleased. Now what I'm going to do is do some blobs of bright colour on that, because we are almost done, believe it or not. We do not want to overwork this. So I'm going to go for some of the turquoise, because I just love turquoise, and I'm going to maybe add that into one or two of those windows. A few little blobs here and there in the water. And I think I could do with some magenta, so let's get a clean brush. And I'm going for the brilliant magenta, and again maybe with some of those windows here and there. And some yellow. Try and wash that off my brush. And dip into the yellow. Just sort of reflections of things, but that's more, it's a lot more vivid when we do it like this. And I think we need a bit of colour coming. We can smooth that through some of those masks that are there, just to make it look like the water. And the same with these here. So again, let's change a brush for one that we've got that's a little bit more blue. So we're into all sorts of colours happening, and we can just sort of get our reflections working through those masks. A few little highlights. Just using the flat of your brush, just sort of dip that on. And in the danger of overdoing it, we will leave it there. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this, and please hit subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you'll have updates each week on new things that are coming out for free. Thank you.